And like a ghost emerging from Britain's own political graveyard, Elon Musk has just detonated yet another bombshell on Keir Starmer and his crumbling Labour Party. Starmer's skeletons aren't just rattling, they're breaking the closet apart. The latest revelation from Musk isn't just shocking, it's devastating. It's about Starmer's dark tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions, and it's uglier than anyone dared to imagine. Musk didn't mince words. When Starmer was supposed to be prosecuting criminals, he may have been better at protecting them instead. This isn't just petty political mudslinging. Musk's claims reach into one of the darkest chapters of British society, when grooming gangs preyed on vulnerable young girls, unchecked, unchallenged, and unpunished. Between 2008 and 2013, when Starmer was the head of the Crown Prosecution Service, these predators thrived. Musk's bombshell has thrown a harsh spotlight on Starmer's record, and it's raising questions that Labour can't seem to answer. What exactly was Starmer doing while these victims were crying out for justice? Reports have already painted a grim picture. The January review into cases like Rochdale exposed years of systemic failure, police mishandling investigations, lack of resources, and critical delays. But Musk isn't just pointing to Rochdale. He's claiming this was a national scandal, a countrywide failure where the justice system turned a blind eye to organized abuse under Starmer's watch. And worse, Musk implies that those brave enough to speak out about these atrocities were silenced, some even jailed. It sounds insane, yet here we are. The CPS, under Starmer, held the ultimate responsibility for prosecuting these crimes. If they fumbled, if they failed, it meant predators walked free. The numbers from Starmer's tenure paint a bleak picture. Prosecutions for serious crimes, particularly those involving vulnerable victims, fell. Resources were stretched thin, and the CPS often prioritized easier cases over complex ones like organized child exploitation. The results? Devastating. Lives destroyed. Communities shattered. And a justice system that utterly failed those it was meant to protect. Starmer, the man now claiming to be Britain's future, has yet to answer for this. As the evidence mounts, his economic woes pale in comparison. Labour's poll numbers are already in freefall, and this scandal might just be the final nail in the coffin. Musk's brutal critique doesn't stop at Starmer's judicial failures. He's gone after Labour's economic vision too. He's warned that under Starmer's leadership, the UK is becoming a no-go zone for investors. His words are cutting and direct. Very few companies will invest in the UK under Starmer. For a party that promises economic growth, it's a damning indictment. Labour's plans to raise corporation taxes and impose stricter regulations are spooking businesses. The UK economy is already struggling. Rising inflation, stagnant growth, and climbing unemployment. Starmer's policies aren't inspiring confidence. They're sending investors running for the hills. Musk, a visionary who has accurately predicted economic and technological trends for years, sees disaster looming. And he's not alone. Business leaders are sounding the alarm, warning that Labour's approach could lead to fewer jobs, lower wages, and higher costs for ordinary Britons. But that's not even the worst of Starmer's problems. The political landscape is shifting beneath his feet, and he's losing ground fast. Reform UK, once dismissed as a fringe player, is gaining momentum. And guess who just threw his weight behind them? Musk. Reform UK is becoming a serious threat, pulling disillusioned Labour voters and eating away at Starmer's traditional strongholds. Recent by-election results show the damage. Reform UK has gained 7 seats while Labour has hemorrhaged support, losing over 20% in key contests. In some areas, Labour has fallen behind both the Conservatives and Reform UK. What's driving this shift? Simple. Starmer's Labour doesn't resonate with working-class voters anymore. Reform UK is capitalising on this, positioning itself as the voice of ordinary Britons fed up with out-of-touch elites. And it's working. Polls suggest that Reform UK could come second in over 200 seats, potentially displacing Labour as the main opposition in many constituencies. Nigel Farage, Reform UK's leader, is riding this wave of discontent with confidence. His party's rise is rewriting the political map, and Musk's endorsement is adding fuel to the fire. There's even speculation that Musk might bankroll Reform UK, though his public support alone is shaking Labour to its core. Meanwhile, Labour's internal chaos is reaching fever pitch. Starmer's leadership is under siege from his own party. MPs are whispering about ousting him, furious at his inability to connect with voters and his failure to address key issues like the cost of living crisis. Even Labour councillors are turning on him. Steve Edwards didn't hold back when he accused Starmer of lying to win the leadership and betraying Labour's working-class roots. The betrayal cuts deep, and the numbers back it up. Labour's support in local elections has plummeted, with traditional strongholds slipping away. Starmer's robotic, uninspiring leadership style isn't helping. Critics say he's disconnected, out of touch, and unable to connect with ordinary voters. Labour's polling collapse isn't just a warning, it's an earthquake. The once dominant party is losing its grip, and the cracks are only widening. And then there's Musk's most shocking claim, that Britain is on the brink of societal collapse. His warning about a potential civil war might sound extreme, but is not alone in sensing the tension. Rising inequality, cultural clashes, and political disillusionment are creating a volatile mix. The government's failure to address these issues is fueling anger and division. Musk sees a powder keg, and is not wrong to highlight the risks. Starmer's Labour is at the centre of this storm, and his leadership is failing to inspire confidence. With his past haunting him, his party turning against him, and his policies alienating voters, his days might be numbered. Labour's future looks bleak, and British politics is on the verge of a seismic shift. Reform UK is rising, the Conservatives smell blood, and Starmer is running out of time. Whatever happens next, one thing is clear, the UK is heading into uncharted territory, and Starmer might not survive the journey.